Welcome to the show, everybody. Today will be short and hopefully sweet. I wanted to create an orientation for my library so that you understand how to use my library, whether it's the website or the online library or the USB that is now available. If you have been watching my content for a while, you know that it's been a lot of work and time in the making. I've probably worked 50 to 60 hour weeks for the last 3 years, very consistently, editing videos, writing, putting together various materials so that you can have a one-stop shop for discernment, for edification, for encouragement, and many other things, health, just as a comprehensive, basically, library for your needs and whatever that may be. Now that journey is done. I'm not done creating content. I'm not done doing what I'm doing. However, the journey of creating the bulk of my work, where now it's a product, now it's something that you can have, that you can use, that you can share with others and basically edify yourself, that's done. And I'm very excited and very relieved because I do need a little bit of a break. It's been quite a bit of work, as I'm sure you know. But nevertheless, I want to show you the product of that work. This is the box. This is the USB library box. This is now available for sale. Very nice little branding on the inside. It's got the Dance of Life logo, and I think that's pretty cool. And of course, the USB, aluminum USB, 512 gigabytes, very high quality USB in there. It's got about 800 hours of my work on this tiny little device, which is just phenomenal. Commercial free, ad free, no sponsorships or anything, and no internet connection. I think that's a pretty valuable thing. So that's available for you as well. Very high quality. It's crazy to think, to think that all of that work is on this little tiny thing. It's just crazy. It's just so crazy to me. All of my books, all my presentation notes, all my posters, all my visual aids, all my research articles, all my basically, the research PDFs that I've used, books that I've used, references, MP3 files of every video, and of course a lot more. We're going to be looking at that quite a bit today as part of today's orientation. So this is available to you going forward as a way for you to have all of my content in a neatly organized, ad-free situation without an internet connection, and to hopefully share with others as well. It's a great way to support my work also. It helps me recover all of the effort and time that I've put into this. The USB, the default USB is going to be on sale for $500, $499. And the AI upgrade is going to be for $999. The AI upgrade, we'll talk about that in a second. But just really quick, just so you understand, the USB is also part of the store in the books category. In the books category, what that means is that if you get other books on top of the USB, you can save up to 10%, which is between $50 to $100. So that's just my little gift to you. Nevertheless, the AI upgrade, what is that? The AI upgrade has JSON files. If you don't know what those are just, basically fancy text files that AI can basically understand how to relate to information. So what I've done is I've gone through every one of my content, audio or visual. I've run that through a transcription program like Whisper. I've gotten transcripts with timestamps. Then I've taken ChatGPT. I'll show you what it looks like in just a second when we get to it. But I've taken ChatGPT and I've organized them into thought level blocks where basically you can now train an AI on all of my material, and it can act as a glossary and as an answerer that can give you answers according to how I would have answered it. So I think it's a very valuable tool. Right now, the technology is not as accessible at the time of this video. In other words, I wanted to create an AI chatbot. I wanted to call it Fennec the Librarian. Anyway, that'd be cute. Maybe in the near future. But at the time, right now, the amount of content that I have to be able to train an AI would be very expensive. I wouldn't be able to do that right now. So anyway, I'm sure that these things will become more democratized. And even if I were to do it, it's just not feasible to maintain such a thing. It would be too expensive to maintain it. I wanted to offer it as a free service to people so that could be just a place where they can ask questions or look up, where did you do this or where did you talk about that? Ask the robot, it'll tell you right away. So that would make my life a little bit easier. I could offset some of the questions to the AI chatbot, but that's not feasible right now to have that as a free service. It's just not. I would have to charge for it. And I don't necessarily want to do that. Unless if you think that you would be willing to pay for such a thing, let me know and we can look at some various things. Nevertheless, I wanted to create all of the files anyway that I would use to train an AI, and I'm going to offer that to you. If you have an AI that you work with, if you are a tech person, if you think that it'd be valuable for you in the near future to have this, to be able to train that for yourself, I'm going to offer that to you as a benefit if you get the upgraded version. So anyway, it's a great tool for helping you get edified and search all of my content, help you also edify others and spread the truth to others. And until then, anyway, I thought I'd just make the infrastructure very easy so that when the technology does come around, it's super easy and democratized and everybody can do it. I think this is the future, to be honest with you. I think this is the future where in the future, you're going to have people downloading their, consciousness basically onto their information onto a robot that can basically serve as an extension of that person and to help people understand. I think that's a very great tool. People, look, you can say all you want about AI. God is sovereign. Okay, God is sovereign in this world, and he has appointed things to fulfill his word that many will run to and fro, and knowledge will increase. This is part of it. If I could have an AI that is trained on all of my content, that can answer questions, look up stuff, and even translate that into different languages for other people who are not speakers of English, that I think is a great tool, especially if it's free. I think that's amazing. So these things, you have to use them for good. Don't be, don't be ruled by a spirit of fear on these things and say, oh, they're the Antichrist. Yeah, everything is Antichrist. Money is Antichrist. Okay, when you look at your dollar bill, it's got a pyramid with a, illuminated eye on it. So everything is Antichrist in this world, but we use it for the good. Right? So anyway, you can experiment with that if you want. You have that available to you. Today is a very simple video. I wanted to just walk through my 3 libraries, or basically the way that you access, whether it's the website, the online directory for members, or the actual USB, and take a look at that. So if you're new to my channel, then the online library is a paid membership. It's only $5 a month or $50 a year, but nevertheless, that gives you basically access to download all of my content it's like an online directory, and you can download all my content and have it for yourself. Obviously, there's some perks to having the actual physical library, and we'll talk about that, but nevertheless, that's there as a benefit. And of course, the website is free because that is available to everyone. So website walkthrough. The website, and of course, there's going to be timestamps and all this, so you can access the walkthrough that you need. That's according to whatever you use most. Now, the website is where all of my written and video content resides, one way or another. Most of the major stuff that I've created is free. Some things require a paid membership to access because they're behind a paywall. And that's not expensive. It's only $5 a month or $50 a year. My website is actually relatively easy to navigate, unless you have a hard time navigating websites in general. I've spent a lot of time organizing it. I'm very anal about organization. There's a lot of content. And of course, there's only so many ways that you can organize a website with link trees and various links and pages. And nevertheless, it's a lot to explore. So understanding how to explore it is the most important part. The pros of the website is that most stuff is free and it's pretty easy to navigate, relatively speaking. The cons are that you don't have all the content in a single directory. So finding something is a little more tedious because it's more of an exploration kind of discovery type of thing. It's not designed as a directory for you to look at stuff. You also need an internet connection. That's a con. Substack can also sometimes be a pain in the butt in the sense that they can maybe not load correctly, or they trick you and they make you go to the website, to their actual app, which we'll talk about today, how they do that, which is really annoying. So anyway, let's go over the walkthrough. So if you go to my website, this is danceoflife.com. And now I'm on the desktop, okay? It's the same on a phone. Obviously, it's a smaller display, but it's the same thing. The difference is on the phone, this menu here at the top is, you're not going to see all the items on the menu. So you have to scroll to the left or to the right. A lot of people get tripped up by this, even though I have an email when you first sign up that tells you, hey, you got to scroll to the left or to the right if you want to reveal these things. So just make sure but there's main categories here. Home, chat, shop, donate, health, encouragement, Bible studies, resources, and about. That's it. Each of these has their own things. Home, obviously, is home. If you go to the chat, it takes you immediately to basically the Substack chat. You can be a member there, and that's for members only. So that's just, I do that because I'm trying to minimize how many trolls come into the chat, and so far it's worked, but nevertheless, one every now and then sneaks in, so we have to ban them. But it's a pretty laid back chat, lots of very awake people there, so I encourage you to be part of it. If you click on shop, it takes you to my shop, my store, where there's a ton of great stuff, merch, basically shirts, t-shirts, all sorts of memes, that we use with the little Fennec foxes. There's also, hats, you can buy books, all kinds of cool stuff. And also, of course, there's the health store. If you click on the top, there's the health book and lots of supplements that I've vetted myself. I've written articles about that I use personally, very high quality things for recovery, for reducing inflammation, for helping your gut health, pretty much the pillars of health. So that's that. If you go to donate is where if you want to support my work, this is where you go. Just go to the website, click on donate, and you can basically read all about it. There's all sorts of ways that you can support me there, whether it's by Apple Pay, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, crypto, whatever you want to do. If you want to mail me a check, that's fine too. I don't ask for donations regularly, but if you want to support me, that's there for your use. And I appreciate every single cent. Health is also my health and wellness page. This is basically a free page for everybody. You can have a lot of stuff now. However, there's some stuff on here that is not free. Most of the stuff is free, like the Healthy Like a Fox health series. This is a updated health series, and it's free for everybody. You can check that out. The book, obviously, you have to buy that. I'm not going to mail you an 800-page book for free, but that's everything I've learned in like 20 years of health. It's 1,600 scientific references. Everything about health that I've learned is in this book, so make sure you check it out. It's a great book. There's a link to the health store. There's some website health articles, which of course you have to be a paid member to access these, but these are some of the top health articles that I would recommend to read. They're research articles. There's the Ultimate Recovery Stack, things that I recommend to recover from inflammation, from basically injuries, working out, recovering your gut. Now you see, here's another problem too. This is actually a great example. I am on Mozilla Firefox right now, and sometimes, unless you're using Google Chrome, Substack just kind of glitches out. For example, this is supposed to show the Body Hacker Basics Masterclass, which is a paid course on health that I created several years ago. But you see, it doesn't display anything. It's supposed to have a picture here. And on Google, it does display on Google Chrome. So just be mindful of that. If you're using different browsers, sometimes Substack is kind of messy. Now, these are recorded articles and podcasts. These are free that you can listen to, various things like fasting for health or different ways to supplement. These are audio articles that are pulled from the health articles that are paid, but these are free that you can listen to, that I've recorded over various years. And also my old health podcasts that I recorded with the date, like this is from 2019, 2020. These are evergreen interviews, but nevertheless, they're great podcasts you can listen to on different things. Gut health, oral health, these are all free that you can listen to. So all this with your health page, I think there's plenty of resources there for you to get healthy. If you need some help in that department, you feel free to email me your questions. I'm happy to help you. Encouragement is the other part, which is also free. This is just a page with a ton of different encouraging, things that I've created. So for example, you've got the Dance of Life, which is just basically just different tracks on what the Dance of Life means to me. It's a different thing about the mystery of the faith, the mystery of the gospel, the mystery of various mysteries that we're reconciling in, like the Trinity, the incarnation. There's different things to talk about and how to interpret the Bible through the lens of the Dance of Life. So you can understand what that means to me. There's the devotional recording. So if you have my devotional, you can listen to these. These are free. These are all the articles that I've ever written on the devotional, 80 articles. They're recorded and they're free. You can listen to them. Just encouraging devotional recordings on the gospel, on faith, on dealing with tribulation, things like that. This is the Gratitude Map. This is my book called The Gratitude Map, and I've recorded the book and published the recordings for free. So if you, for example, if I click on it, now really quick point, if you're on the desktop, or actually the mobile, what you have to understand is when you click on something, it takes you in a new window. See, it takes you in a new window. But anyway, this is the Gratitude Map, and you can see it's got links to other stuff too if you want to get the workbook, the book, the poster, or you can listen to the recordings for free. And of course, the book has QR codes where you can scan them and come to this page and listen to the book for free. There's also Christian inspiration, just short, kind of engaging videos that I used to make, very animated videos just to inspire people with Christian themes, Christian ideas. There's testimonial videos. There's the Book of Psalms narration. There's the Book of Proverbs narration, Book of Ecclesiastes narration, my early reflections from 2021 before I lost my voice when I first came back to Jesus, and my theological articles. The articles are actually paid. Everything else on here is free. If you want to read the articles or basically use the written content, that's obviously behind a paywall. And of course, a link to the devotional where you can basically purchase the devotional and learn about that. Now, the next one on the list is Bible studies. Bible studies is where you have all of my Bible studies, obviously, and they're in order of, I guess, and I put them in relatively order of importance, like salvation is first, how to be a Berean is next. This is 14 reasons why Catholicism and Orthodoxy have nothing to do with the early church. This is important right now. Obviously, people are going into these religions, so they're not necessarily in order, but they're there. So you have, I don't know how many studies, like over 20, 25, something like that, of various studies that I've made. Everything is on this page. So everything is on here, Bible studies page. And if you click on an individual study, you're going to have various resources with that study. So if you click on this, again, remember it's in a new window. So when you're on mobile, it opens a new window. So that's important. But you can see every page has a link to the library itself. It says if you would like to download this content for use offline, check out the Dance of Life library and archive the material on your own devices. So there's a link on every study to access the library, which we'll be looking at in a second. This particular study is on salvation. So in this case, you've got tracks having to do with monergism and predestination and the gospel. I've recorded lots of tracks on there for encouragement. Then there's the visual aids, which of course are not loading because Mozilla just freaks out when it comes to Substack. These are the series visual aids, and of course the episodes. And you just scroll down, you have the episode, the timestamps, and that's the case for all of them. So this is pretty much how you would browse any Bible study on the Bible Studies page. Important also is the resources page. People do not check this page enough. This is a very important place to go. The resources page has resources that are both free and paid. And by the way, if you're a member, you have a way to contact me on each one of these pages. It says message me. If you're a paid member, you can click on that button and message me directly. Or you can send me an email. You don't have to be a paid member. If you sign up to the website free, you enter your email and you receive an email from me, just respond to that email, tudor@danceoflife.com. Very simple to get a hold of me. Now, free resources. What are the free resources? Of course, these are all the links that we've looked at: Bible studies, encouragement, health and wellness. You've got the Watch Fox's News Watchers page, where it's kind of like a very brief page on what you need to be watching in the news so that you aren't deceived. And if you want to send me news for Venerable Day of the Sun episodes, VDS episodes, go to this page and understand what is important and what's not important, because it's important to watch the right things. This is a page called Pastor Resources. In fact, there's it's a free, like if I go to it, it's a free page. It's a free page for pastors and for sending your pastors to here. There's a postcard that's associated with this page with a QR code, and basically for them to be able to watch all these various, series. There's an end times postcard that they can have. There's an end times prophetic timeline. There's all these various tools that they can check out. There's shareable videos, the end time series, the Great Delusion series. All these are designed for pastors because obviously the modern church is very deceived on many important issues. There's the Fennec Fox certification. That is the free quiz that I created. Of course, that's going to be put into the Berean Q&A book that is now available. So make sure you check that out. That's a collection of all the questions, quiz questions, and questions that people have messaged me and my answers to them. That's a big book. I don't know, about 400 pages, something like that. And that's available to you now. There's a page called Share My Work. If you want to share, if you like sharing my work, you also get, Substack has this leaderboard function where if you share things and they end up being a subscriber, that you get like a perk and so on. Not too many people use that perk, but nevertheless, if you get enough points, you can cash them in for like a one-on-one with me, or free membership, like 6 months free membership, so on and so forth. So anyway, sharing my work, that's a free resource if you'd like to share. All of these are free. If you are a paid member, it's very clearly outlined, paid resources. There's the Fennec Fox chat. You can join the chat. Theology articles, health articles, courses are for members, books, original music, which I've made because I'm a musician, a composer. And of course, there's the Dance of Life library, which we will get to in just a second. And let's go back now to the main menu and the About page. Now, the About page is just about me, and it has a link to my statement of faith. It has a link to my testimony. It has a link of what the Dance of Life means to me. All these things are free resources. You can read them. It has a list of why you should subscribe, a lot of all the benefits, over $1,000+ worth of benefits. And of course, the membership is just $5 per month and $50 per year. I don't plan on changing that unless America turns into Venezuela and the dollar just explodes with inflation. But I've kept that to be as reasonable as possible so that people have access to these things. And most of the things that I've created are free. Nevertheless, there's a lot of benefits to being a paid member. Now, important also when you go to the website, whether you're on your phone or on your, like if we do, let's do this. How about I do a new, can I do a new window, new private window? Let's do this. Okay, you can see that. So if I go to danceoflife.com and I'm not logged in, see, it's going to pop you up with a page that says sign up because you're going to be cool like everybody else. So put your email in here. You can maybe later if you don't want to. say, I'm not cool. I don't want to be part of the cool kids club. So once you get here, people ask me, how do I access my paid membership? Well, you have the subscribe button here if you're not subscribed yet, or you have sign in, which is at the top right. The top right, you have to sign in. And the email that you used, you'll get it. You'll go through a whole process to set a password and everything else, and that's how you sign in. Once you sign in, generally, I think it recognizes you, and then you can access all these pages. So if you're having trouble, make sure that you're using the email that you signed up with. Some people have multiple emails, which is a problem. Nevertheless, also the homepage is important too. This is where the newest thing is going to be highlighted at the very top. Then there's the Venerable Day of the Sun news coverage, and that's basically there. And then there's the recent posts field where you can just see what's been recently posted and browse that way as well. So it's very simple website, very straightforward. And nevertheless, that's about it. So conclusion, the website is a great resource for everyone. I encourage everybody to go to my website. Don't hang out on YouTube. YouTube is useful. Obviously, everybody likes YouTube, Rumble, and things like that. But I don't have control over anybody who's on YouTube or Rumble or wherever else. That's why I started my Substack, so that I have control over my subscribers. So I can communicate with you directly through email. Email is still the king of communication. So make sure you're subscribed on the website. If you want to support me, don't donate through YouTube, because that goes into various other schemes. And just go to my website and donate there. If you want to be a member, I'm not going to create membership programs on YouTube. I'm just not. I don't care if I have 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I'm not going to create membership programs on YouTube, because I don't have control over what YouTube does with my account. So please join my Substack website, whether you're free or paid, doesn't matter. Just be in touch. That's the best way to do it. I've done my best to make things as accessible as possible so you can be edified in the truth while also respecting my time and the amount of effort and energy that I put in these things. So if you want to support myself, if you want to support my work, then please be a member on the website or donate or whatever else. Or buy a library. Buy one of these guys. That supports me quite a bit because that helps quite a lot. So, hey there. You may be wondering, why is he wearing a different colored shirt? And that's because I'm from the future. Just kidding. I'm actually from the past. Well, past for you, future for me, because I forgot to record a little segment in this walkthrough about the search function on the website. So that's what we're going to do right now. Now, if you go to the website and you look at the top, now this is on desktop, obviously. Same thing on mobile. You have a little magnifying glass there. And I realized recently that it goes away if I minimize this window. You see, it'll go away eventually for some reason. I think probably because there's not enough space here to display. So anyway, that's just something to be aware of if you like minimize your windows or you resize your windows. So anyway, if you go to the search section, it has a very robust search engine on Substack, which is actually one of the great features of Substack. YouTube does not have that. YouTube is a great search engine in general, but you don't have specific search engines for specific channels, right? So this is why I think Substack has a really nice value to it. So you can type in anything I've ever made. You know, you can type in, for example, I don't know, let's say we want to talk about like nutrition and sleep. Sleep, you know, then you have all of the things I've ever created on sleep. You know, all these different articles. If you want to type in, I don't know, Sunday laws or something like that, you have a whole list of things that so this is actually super, super useful. The only thing that I would suggest to be aware of is that when you don't see a cover, a couple things actually, when you don't see a cover picture like this, where it's got the cover of my podcast, sometimes, like in the past, I would upload an audio and a video. For some reason, I don't remember why, but anyway, you might run into an audio of something and not the actual video. Let's see, is this? Yeah, you see, this is, for some reason, I don't know why Substack would do this sometimes, but it doesn't seem to do it anymore. I forget why. Anyway, like because I link up my podcast to this website. So the episodes that I publish on like a video format the audio is stripped and put into like podcast platforms like iTunes, Spotify, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes you might run into just the audio. See, there's the audio. This is Project 2025 of the coming Sunday laws. This was like an old news video that I did, but this isn't actually a video. This is a video that I did. Actually, I think it was one of my first news updates, like in 2023. But this is the file here that you're looking at is an audio because it just has like a regular podcast thumbnail and just red and just a play button. So you may run into that, and just be mindful that when you're searching for things, that you might dig up things that aren't really, like, they're just old or whatever, that they're not the same quality as a video that's already posted in the Bible study section, encouragement section. All this stuff that I've ever made is posted. If you want to search for it in a faster way, then you can use the search engine, but just be mindful that the search engine is going to pull up, like, sometimes random stuff too, because again, I would have audio and video versions of the same piece of content. Another thing you need to be aware of with search engines, like for example, you see this little lock by it. So Substack has a feature where you can specify, okay, how much time do you want posts to live like without being locked behind a paywall? And my setting is 1 week. So 1 week when I make a new post of some kind, there's basically a grace period where you can access it for free as a free member, but then, it goes to a paywall. So if you want to search for it, you want to reference it later, it becomes paywalled. This is very important to understand. This is why I created pages on my website, like the Bible studies page, like the encouragement page, like the health page. All of these pages are a feature in Substack where I can post content and make the page free. That way you can access the same content and it's basically free. So a lot of people are like, oh, why do you have to pay to be a member? You don't have to pay to see most of my content. But if you go to the search engine and you're going to look for something and you're going to try to access it, you're going to hit the paywall because these things are locked behind. These are actual posts that I made. If you want to access the content free, most of the stuff is free, go to the actual pages as we've been describing in this walkthrough. So just be aware that these things are behind paywalls. And, there's posts here, for example, that aren't included on the Bible studies page. They're, like this, what is this? Nothing new under the sun. Yeah, this is just a post with Trump and Elon and all the shenanigans that they're doing, or, like when the Charlie Kirk thing happened. So basically, these are posts. So you can find everything with the search option. Guaranteed chances are guaranteed that it will be paywalled most of the time, because most things get paywalled, obviously, unless it's recent. So that's just that. That's the search engine function. I think the search engine function is actually super useful, very, very handy for various purposes, especially if you're just looking in general for the things that I've talked about on a particular topic. It's a very useful thing. So hopefully that helps. Now back to your regular scheduled programming. Online library walkthrough. Now, if we go again to the resources page, and you scroll down all the way down to the bottom, and there's the Dance of Life library. When you click on this link here, this is the link that you will be taken to from your email, right? From your email when you look at the bottom. Like, for example, you know what? I didn't. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So yeah, I forgot to do this for the previous walkthrough, which is the website, but anyway, it'll be useful either way. So here's the problem with Substack. Like I said, it has little shenanigans at the time of this video, at least. It has shenanigans that basically are very subtle that force you to go to their app. And once you're on their app, people get lost and it gets really annoying. So really important, couple of things. The last thing that I was talking about was that in your emails, when you get an email from me, this is one of the emails. If you scroll to the bottom, it says download today's episode. Okay, it's also got links to Bible studies and all the free resources. But if you want to download today's episode, and let's say you click on that, it takes you to the Dance of Life library. It takes you to this page with the library, which you have to access the actual library through the link. There's two things on this page. There's purchase the USB if you want to buy the USB, or access the online library. That's because the online link, I can't paywall the online link. So it's on the honor system that if you're a paid member and you're accessing this, that you're not sharing that link with everybody and their mother, okay? But nevertheless, that link, there's no way for me to paywall it. So I have a page that's a landing page where it makes you decide, do you want to go to the online library or do you want to purchase the library, the USB? Now, back to the thing that I needed to outline before we continue this. If I go back to my email, when you have an email from me, you'll notice a couple of things. It says here, read in app. See this little button on the bottom? Don't click on that because that makes you go to their app. They have very sneaky ways of trying to increase their app numbers. So it's a constant struggle between the actual app and the people who have a website like me on there and they're using their platform. So don't click on that. Don't read the app. Just listen now. Click on listen now or the big red button. If you do click on listen now, it takes you to the page, the actual website page where this is posted. And you can see that there's a way, like for example, if you look at, let's see, open an app. See this button here, open an app? Don't click on that because that means you're going to open it in the app. So beware of that. Beware of the opening an app in the email. And also when you have, for example, another one that I found, which is super annoying. Where is it? Let's go to resources page. Okay. So if you see like these little previews, like Bible studies, encouragement, the way it has it done is it's got the title of the article or the page, the name of the author, which obviously is me, and then it says read full story. If you click on read full story or the title, it's going to take you to the actual page. If you click on the middle, and it's really hard on mobile because your finger sometimes touches the middle, this will lead you, for example, if I click on this, you see it leads me to the Substack profile. It leads you to the actual platform Substack, the app. And now you're in the app and you're looking at my profile and where am I at here? What's going on? So very important that you have all of these various triggers that can lead you off the beaten path and into their app. So just be aware of that. There might be more as time goes on, but these are the ones that I've discovered. Nevertheless, just be aware. Now, back to the library. So we're here in the Dance of Life library page. You say, okay, I want to access the online library. You click on this. And what does that do? That moves you to a directory that's called the Dance of Life library. This is a directory. You should be able to see it nice and clear. See if I can zoom in even better. Does that make it bigger? It does make it bigger. Okay, good. Okay, nice and big font. So this library has now, but you can't, it's like scrolling weird. All right, well, anyway, this library has, let's make it a little bit smaller now. Dang it. Okay. So this library has certain things in it. It has podcasts and Bible studies, pastor resources, music, health content, encouragement in the gospel, courses, books. You have to, in order to go to a particular video, you have to navigate through these folders. Again, there's a lot of content, but it's been very well organized for you. You have to navigate to the associated folder. So the smaller ones, we'll go with those first. The books folder obviously is just all of my books and their PDF form. You can download them and have them there. The courses folder is the 3 different courses that I have, the 5 Steps to Forgiveness, Body Hacker Basics Masterclass, 5-Day Dance Challenge. That's all these courses, all the materials are all in there. When you go to Encouragement in the Gospel, you have a lot of other subfolders. The Gratitude Map, the Dance of Life, Testimonial Interviews, Psalms, Narrations, all the things you saw on the website. These are all there with the audio files to listen to them or download them if you want. Health content, same thing. You have Renee Fitton. Renee was kind of a one-off situation, so I just put her as her own folder. You have the recorded articles from the health book. You have Healthy Like a Fox, which is the updated health course, and you have the old health podcast that I recorded from 2019 to 2021. So all that is there, free for you to download and listen to. Music, of course, I have a lot of different albums that I've published. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different albums in various ways that I've published, whether with myself or other people. Pastor resources, these are just the poster graphics, the large 44 by, 32 inches posters, PNG files, very large PNG files for the Ultimate End Times Prophetic Timeline and the Trinity that they can have. I didn't realize that I didn't put the Sabbath one in there. I'll put the Sabbath one in there as well. I think that's a good one, and maybe the gratitude map too. Anyway, I'll put that on there, and they're all going to be there by the time you see this. They're all going to be in there anyway. So these are just resources for your pastors. You can print them out. You can give them as graphics to them. They can use it in their own presentations. They're there for their edification. Now, podcasts and Bible studies. When you click on that, there's a lot of folders here because there's a lot of podcasts and a lot of Bible studies. I have hundreds and hundreds of videos. So what do you have? Well, you have Venerable Day of the Sun, news coverage 23 through 24, my KLA TV interview, my free thought interviews, and then Bible studies. So Venerable Day of the Sun, obviously, that's got all of the videos. Once you click on these folders, by the way, there are subfolders of those. And you have to look at the top and say, okay, where am I at? I'm in Venerable Day of the Sun, news coverage, whatever. That's where I'm at. If I click back, that takes me to podcasts and Bible studies. So it's all very straightforward if you've used directories before. But once you click on one of these folders, there's other subfolders. There's the videos folder, which has all of the videos. Okay, there's the thumbnails in case you want to use the thumbnails. And there's the resources, where you have the presentation notes in this case, and the references and so on for all these various things. They all have different resources, like the End Times series has the various posters and things like that. So that's what that has. So news coverage 23 through 24 is all the news coverage before I started doing Venerable Day of the Sun. Venerable Day of the Sun is 2024 and beyond news coverage. KLA TV interview. This was the interview I did with Daniel Shumway for KLA TV. Very cool interview. My free thought interviews are the videos that I did with Shaman Omar on his platform, Free Thought Unchained. I did 3 big interviews with him, discussions, debates, whatever you want to call them. And all these, by the way, have their thumbnails. Now, if we go to Bible studies, this is where all of your Bible studies are. So every single Bible study I've ever made on every single topic is here. Lots and lots of, and you can download. So for example, if I want to go to the Sabbath series, I have my resources folder, the Sabbath thumbnails folder, and the videos. You're always going to have resources, thumbnails, if there's a lot of, thumbnails in this case, and the videos folder. Very important. For example, if I go to the Daniel and Revelation, if I go to I have the videos folder, resources are a bunch of different files, different end times related files, graphical aids, things like that, various textual explanations that I've created, the presentation notes, in this case, the thumbnail is part of the resource folder because there's only one thumbnail. And then you also have Exposing Babylon documentation, which I've compiled a bunch of different documents and writings, memes and pictures. Like if you click on documents and writings, there's a lot of resources about, the Mystery Babylon religion. Of course, we all know who that is. But the point is, all of these are there available for you, so you can download. So these are all there for you, and you can explore them. And then if you want to download them, you just go to videos, and then, okay, I can right-click the thing and preview. I can download. So I can watch it or I can download it. Now, the only problem is that it's the memory is not as efficient. So the pros, what are the pros? The pros are that it's very convenient, right? It's very convenient. It's very affordable, right? $5 a month. You could have access to all my stuff. If you were really persistent, you could probably download all my stuff in 1 month, unsubscribe, and never hear from me again. And you literally just got 800 hours of content for free for like $5, basically. $5 of content. So that's the risk I give because ultimately I want you to be edified. Nevertheless, it's very affordable, very convenient. The cons are that the memory is not as efficient on these videos. It's much more, it occupies much more space, many more, hundreds of gigabytes more. So it's slower, it's just more cumbersome. You also have to organize the file yourself when you're downloading and sorting it. So if you download all these things, you have to recreate the file system. You have to recreate the structure yourself, and that's a lot of work. It took me a lot of work to create the USB file structure. And of course, you also need an internet connection to access the library, which is also another con. So overall, it's a great benefit. It's a great benefit for members. Like I said, if you are a member for $5 or $50 a year, you can have access to all these things, and you can use them for yourself, for your own, efforts and everything else. So there are some inconveniences, but nevertheless, the benefits are there, and they're certainly worth the $5, I think, per month. Now, the USB library walkthrough. The USB library is something anyone can have. It's not member or non-member related. Whoever wants to have it, they can have it. It's all of my content plus extras that you don't get in the online library. You get MP3 files of every video I've ever made so that you can listen to it on an MP3 player or whatever audio player. Much more efficient memory storage. If you need to copy or move files to and fro, it's much more efficient. Professionally organized for you. There's no organizing on your part. I already did it for you. It's very nicely done. And it's a hard copy. There's no spending hours and hours of time to download and wait for these things and file and organize them. It's all there for you, a nice little USB. It's all yours. And of course, if you get the AI upgrade, all the JSON files are done for you so that all you got to do is just literally drag and drop everything I've ever made into an AI, train it, and it becomes your, living Fennec Fox librarian. Now, obviously, it's much more expensive than accessing the library, and it's an investment, but you have everything on it, and it's super convenient in that sense. Overall, if you can swing it, I think it's a great investment, and it's enough content to probably last you several years, depending on how much you watch every day, but nevertheless, it's a lot of content. It's definitely worth it. Now, where is it? There it is, and okay, you can see it. So this is the online, or is it not the online? This is the library. Now, in the library, when you get it, you will get a directory, and you'll see a copyright notice. This is just basically a notice telling you that you're authorized to, if you want to copy these materials for personal use, that's fine. If you want to do it for commercial or large scale use, then please contact me and get written permission so that we can work something out. But nevertheless, that's just the copyright notice. Now, everything else is the same. Everything else is the same. So we'll look at how they look differently because there's other files. But this is the AI training folder if you get the AI version. If you don't get the AI version, you won't have this folder in it. But I'm using the AI version because that's the one that needs the orientation mostly. On here, you have a prompt for the AI to prompt it to basically behave a certain way. So if I read that prompt, if I can read it. Well, you know what? Let's see, can I read it? I'm going to read it to you so you can understand what it says. But it says the following. You are a Fennec Fox librarian. You are Fennec the librarian, a friendly, knowledgeable librarian for the Dance of Life Library by Tudor Alexander. Provide accurate, factual answers strictly grounded in the provided library content. Give a concise conclusion first, followed by a brief rationale that references the retrieved passages. No step-by-step internal reasoning. If the library doesn't support an answer, say you don't know and suggest consulting the source materials or contacting the author via the website. Now there's retrievable rules. Basically, you have different rules that how it'll, retrieve certain things. You'll see how it all works when we look at the JSON files. It'll cite the timestamps. It'll cite the basically the various formats. It'll cite the limitation of these various things. There's only 10 sources max that it's going to cite. It's going to output either an answer, or it's going to have a brief bullet face type of situation, or it's going to have various citations and cite the content directly. It's going to be very factual, and it's either going to look up things for you, or it's going to answer and synthesize based on the knowledge provided. So that's that. So that's a prompt, and that's that. Now, if this is the file dump folder. This file dump folder, what it does is this has literally everything in there. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of files. These are all of the JSONs from everything that I've ever made, trained, or basically gone through Whisper, had ChatGPT redo them and put them in the organized thought blocks for training, and they're here. So what you need to do, you can literally just select all and drag and drop to hundreds of files into the AI and just train it on everything. So you don't have to do anything. Just drag and drop. That's there for you. And this is quizzes too, if you want to basically train just on the quizzes. So I have also made the JSONs on each folder if you want to have specific things that you're training it on. If you want everything, you can just use the file dump and just train it on everything. This is the quizzes, all the various quiz questions that I've made, hundreds and hundreds of quiz questions. These are turned into JSON folders. So for example, if we just open this, if we look at this, here we go. Okay, this is what it looks like, all right? So in this case, this is a quiz, so it needs to tell the AI to behave a certain way. So it gives you a question, and let's see if I can zoom in. Yeah, okay, you can see a little bit. Okay, that's too much. 400% is way too much. All right. How about 200%? All right. So this is a specific type of formatted text file that AI can recognize, and it's segmented in various segments that are meaningful, that it understands what the information is. In the context in question with a quiz, it says, here's the question, index 1, this is the first question. What's the text of the question? According to the Bible, the soul is ... The choices are 0, 1, 2, 3. They are a divine spark of I am, a separate immortal part of who we are, a talent for singing blues music. Us, we are living souls. The answer is letter D. Index 3, that's this answer. text. Then it gives you the explanation of that answer. So the AI understands that the question has this answer, and the explanation and context for that answer is as follows. And the content source is the Afterlife series, and the link to the Afterlife series is here, is provided. All of that is part of one question, and this is for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions so that the AI can understand what the answer is and give you a proper reference with the content source and the link as a result. Now, sometimes you'll have episodes where there's also timestamp as a thing also, but nevertheless, this is for quiz questions. So this is the AI training folder and what it does. Now, everything else is the same. You know, books are books, courses, everything else. But let's say we go to Bible studies and we go to a particular Bible study and we go to, you know, like this one, Know Thine Enemy. Now, you can see that in here, you have a folder that you didn't have before, which is the MP3s. If you go to the MP3s folder, you have all of the episodes in audio format, an MP3 format. If we go back out and we click on Know Thine Enemy, and we go to transcription, that's another folder that's not in the regular USB or the online library. Transcription has two things in it. It has the raw JSONs, which were created by Whisper by transcribing basically all of the raw content. And here's what they look like. If you just take them, because you can use these for yourself if you want to, you know, use them and basically train an AI in a different way. I've already done the work, but if you want to have the raw JSONs, here they are. This is what they look like. And let me zoom in again. What do we say, 200? I think 200. So here's the text, is a particular text, and the timestamp is 5 seconds to 10 seconds, then 10 seconds to 15 seconds. So there every 5 seconds, there's a block of text. That's not super meaningful for an AI because you want to index more text so that it's more robust. And you also want to add things like where's the content source that this was gotten from, where's the link that they can click on, what's the timestamp, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I did by taking all these raw JSONs, having ChatGPT, which took me a lot of time because I had to train it to do this, context blocks. So you go to context blocks. And now if we click on, for example, one of these, which is the same thing. These are the same files, but they've been arranged now into more meaningful content blocks. As you can see, the first iteration is 35 seconds to 2 minutes and 35 seconds. So the first, it's a 2-minute block of text. And you've got the text of the basic thing. So now you've got a whole thing. You've got the link. You've got the content source, meaning the title of the study and actually the episode in question, because these are different episodes. And the link where this is found. So if that person clicks on the link when it's recommended to them, there it is. There's the study, and they know that the title of the episode in question is Know Thine Enemy, Evil and Predestination. Okay, so the timestamp is, what's the timestamp? 0 to 2 minutes. Okay, so we're going to go down here to Evil and Predestination. I think is one towards the end. Yada, yada, yada. Here it is, Evil and Predestination, part 8. We're going to click on that, and we're going to find the timestamp in question where that's said. So that's how you would access these things from the AI that's using these things to basically be trained on and recommend the timestamp, the link, and so on. So some things have the timestamp, the link, and the content source. Some things, like the quizzes, don't have that. They just have the content source and the link just as a as a source that's offering. So sometimes they'll have a timestamp, and sometimes they won't have a timestamp. That's the point I'm trying to say. So that's pretty much it. Very straightforward. Like I said, everything's the same as it is in the online library, except the USB has those extra features like the MP3 files, whether that's for the regular or the AI upgrade. If you get the AI upgrade, that also has the various JSON files. So conclusion, the USB library is the way to go if you are able to get it. It's a great gift, or if you're a group of friends, if you're starting your own home church, if you're starting your own, Bible study group, just all pitch in together and grab a USB so you can have everything there and you can use it and all have it. I don't care if you have a group of people and you all pitch in and then you copy the files with each other and you're using it for personal use. It doesn't bother me. But nevertheless, hopefully it's edifying to you. Currently, I have 50 of these at the time of this video. I have 50 of these prepared, so they're going to be first come, first serve. If the demand is good, I'm going to get more of them. Hopefully there's more and we can get this information out. And that's it. That's it for today. Hopefully that was useful. Hopefully it's edifying and has helped you to make sense of all of the hundreds of hours of content that I've created and put out there. These tools are there designed to ultimately help you help others and take a leadership role and participate in God's plan to bring people to himself, which is an exciting time to be alive. So don't be slack. Don't be sitting on your hands. Use all of this information. I've done so much work and I don't want it to go to waste. I want you to use it. I want people to be leaders. And I want people to use the things that I've made to help others. That's what I want. That's how I know that my work will actually be successful. If other people use my work to influence other people's lives. So I've done the heavy lifting for you. Now it's your turn to take the torch, so to speak, the proverbial torch, and be part of God's plan to bring his people to himself. We'll see you next time. Take care and God bless.